today we're going to bring forward 4 new members to our Hall of Honor. We have currently 30 members of the Hall of Honor listed on the walls both sides of me, and 1,191 members in the history of this club, meaning that the members of the Hall of Honor represent less than 3% of the members. It's quite an elite, important group. The Hall of Honor was established in 1985 to honor members, past and present, who have assumed leadership roles in our club and have exemplified the objective of Kiwanis through their dedication to the club, our community, and its activities. This honor is the most prestigious tribute our club can bestow. This time, if you're a member of the Hall, would you please rise and be acknowledged by the rest of us? There are several members in the club today, so thank you. This is an unusual year in that we're going to honor 4 members of our club. Unfortunately, none of those members are with us here today. They've passed along. The Member Recognition Committee, which consists of, again, Jerry Brown, Harry Cross, Lynn Landy, Bob Carr, Sheridan Springer, Richard Benedict, Gene Glisson, and Rip Kinney. I read it out of the book. If there's other people in the committee, please accept my apologies. Have chosen these members. First person presenting the award will be Mr. Richard Benedict, and he will be honoring the club by presenting the award for Ray E. Cross. Dick, please come forward.
There are few people who are able to accomplish a great deal because they have exceptional ability and commitment. There are also a few people who can accomplish a great deal because they have unusual durability and commitment. And there are very few who possess both of those qualities, both ability and durability. And Ray certainly was one of those. He joined our club in 1964 and remained active here until his death in 2006. And he accumulated 41 years of perfect attendance. He was quite proud of that. Ray was chairman of the Youth Services Committee for many years, and he was a leader in our program for attending Maximum Boys Training School. He also was active in the motor meals, and I know that bell ringing was a big thing for Ray, and was at all our attendance, at all our sales. He was on the racket squad as long as he was able to walk. And he did a number of other things while he was in Kiwanis. It was a very big thing in his life. Professionally, Ray was internationally known for his expertise in the area of water treatment. And he received numerous awards professionally. And I know he holds the all-time record for consecutive attendance at his professional society's annual meeting. He got there 60 years in a row. I think that record is going to be one that's going to last for quite a while. He was graduated from Michigan Tech, and he's remained in very close contact with Michigan Tech, and he funded scholarships there, loans there over the years after I was recognized there. In 1999, he created the Roy and Eleanor Cross Foundation, which supports the Ann Arbor Symphony, St. Andrew's Episcopal Church, and of course the Kiwanis Club. And in the last 3 years alone, they have funded 65 academic scholarships and 52 camperships. Ray has been honored by our club in the past. He had Ray Cross Day. He has his Hickson Fellowship. About all that's left, I guess, Peters is the Hall of Honor. I guess this is about the last thing we can do for him. And it's a pleasure, really personal pleasure for me to be participating in this. Ray Cross.
Our next award is going to, let's say this right, Willard J. Fry. Obviously, Will was a key member of our club forever. Very few of us who've been around more than 10 or 15 years in the club do not have some memory of Will involving a truck and perhaps misspot stoplights and other such things. I love going out with Will. Will was a great racket guy. Honoring Will today with his presentation is a fellow member of the Hall of Honor from the 2007 class, Lynn Landon.
Many of us in the room today remember Will Fry. He was a tall, slender man with a huge smile and seemingly endless energy. His wife, Anne, is known to us all. Anne and Will were one of the first couples to share membership in our club. They made a striking couple, Will tall and talkative, Anne petite and quiet. We don't want to underestimate Anne, however. She told me that while she had lots of ideas for landscaping and gardening, she got Will to do most of the work to make her ideas a reality. Gardening was one of the interests Will and Anne shared. I was fortunate to see their yard one day, a city lot transformed with a stream and waterfalls and flowers blooming everywhere. They also traveled together to many countries, including Australia, New Zealand, and Alaska. When Will received the diagnosis of cancer, and they knew there was nothing else to be done, their families hosted a grand celebration of Will's life and their marriage at the First United Methodist Church, where they were very active members, and many of us were there at reception. Will died in 2004, but Anne continues to participate in Kiwanis as much as she can, and often gives a happy dollar just for being able to be here. Will was a mechanical engineer by training and a math teacher by profession. He taught at Slauson for many years. He joined Kiwanis in 1980 and brought his problem-solving perspective with him. One of his projects was to change the way merchandise was handled at the dock. His idea was to pre-sort donations as they arrived into carts for each department. It took some doing and reorganization of the dock area, but Will made it happen, and his idea continues to work well today. Will also became the Chief Procurement Officer. I don't think that is an official title, but he managed the pickup and organization of donations for 15 years. Prior to Will's tenure, we were pretty casual about handling pickups. Folks would call in with a request for a pickup, which were written on slips of paper. And then on Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings, Kiwanians who were part of the racket squad looked over the pickup slips, decided which ones they could get with the Kiwanis truck, called the donor to say they were coming, and set off. Well, Will took on this procedure with gusto. He organized the pickup request, he called people back, often took the truck himself to make pickups with or without help. Many a Kiwanian can tell a story of a wild ride with Will on a pickup run. Fred Sanchez told me this story about Will and the sale. It was the big winter sale, and Fred, who was sale chair that year, had taken his new Lexus to Gordon's Food Service and Sam's Club to pick up supplies for lunch for the volunteers. When he got back to the building, he parked inside the dock area, he loaded the groceries into a cart, and took the elevator upstairs. When he returned to the dock later, there was Will, standing with his elbow on Fred's Lexus, negotiating with a sale customer on a price for the car, which Will assumed had been donated. Will had a special dedication to the Kiwanis project at Mott Children's Hospital. For many years, he would ask club members to join him on Wednesday evenings at the hospital. They would take treats on a cart through the children's hospital and visit with the children and their families. Will also combined his love of gardening, his devotion to children with special needs, and his engineering skills in order to create a greenhouse for the students at High Point. He spearheaded this effort, getting funds and hands-on participation by our club members. Will also was a leader in the Kiwanis landscaping project at Arbor Hospice when the facility first opened. Will was a doer. He could be prickly if you disagreed with him or somehow got in his way. But his heart was as big as his smile, and the good things he did as a member of this club endure. I'm very proud to introduce Will Fry into the Kiwanis Hall of Honor.
Our third very honored recipient will be Charles F. North, and he will be presented by past President Robert Carr. Bob?
Charles Ferguson North, Chuck North, was a member of the Kiwanis Club of Ann Arbor from 1988 till his death in 2008. Chuck was born in 1923 in Hart, Michigan, where he grew up. He was in the Army Air Force during World War II from 1942 to 1945, where he learned to fly a plane and then spent the rest of the duration of the war teaching others to fly a plane as a flight instructor. After the war, he attended the University of Michigan under the GI Bill and received his BS in electrical engineering in 1947. Chuck was a professional engineer in the area of power and energy. His son says that though he's an electrical engineering graduate, his work was probably a little closer even to mechanical engineering. He worked for over 30 years at Cummins and Bernard, where he served as a co-owner and as the president. His work included design and construction of power plants for industrial facilities such as paper mills. He also designed distribution systems for spent steam from power plants, which is used for heating and generating chilled water to cool facilities, also known as district heating and cooling, or cogeneration, or more modern names for that. A major client was the University of Michigan, and the university distributes steam and chilled water all over the campus in underground tunnels. So people know them as the steam tunnels, and they connect different buildings. And there are lots and lots of stories of what's happened in steam tunnels, or getting from one place to another at the University of Michigan, or what's under there. Chuck lived with his wife Evelyn and 3 children in Dexter. He was an avid golfer and served several years as president of Ann Arbor Country Club, where he helped upgrade his golf course and other facilities. He hit the ball straight. I recall him being on a team that won the Kiwanis Golf Outing at the U of M golf course, the blue course, where the team scored 8 under par. They sank every putt that was singable and 2 or 3 or 4 that weren't. When Chuck joined Kiwanis in 1988, he became a regular worker in the camera and photography department. And at that time, it was kind of a dead end at the mezzanine. And I speak of the amenities we didn't have. It had probably less than even that. In addition to its annual February sale, Kiwanis had just begun a few intermittent Saturday sales, beginning in 1986. And in 1991, we began regular sales every Saturday. For the previous 18 years, since Kiwanis occupied this building and moved its annual sale here in 1968, the building had been open in its entirety for only 3 days a year for the February sale. For 51 weeks of the year, the only parts of the building occupied by people were this top floor and the dock area for receiving goods or going out and getting goods. And the rest of the building was really just storage for donations, mostly in their bags, which piled up through the year waiting for February. The top floor, often called the top of the heap, functioned as now. The floors below had minimal heat and no cooling, and the building's 5 levels were served by an old freight elevator. When we started selling on Saturdays, which included sorting sale donations on Mondays and Thursdays, this building's basic amenities were woefully inadequate. It was cold in the winter, hot in the summer. It had inadequate vertical transportation, lighting, restrooms, handicapped access, communication, security, you name it. In short, the building was really not fit for sale workers or customers. Chuck's singular contribution to Kiwanis was his professional leadership in remedying that situation. In 1999, he chaired a planning committee to decide how to make our building serviceable. The committee, with board concurrence, selected building system upgrades to do so, while retaining the building's famous funky atmosphere. I don't know how you could get rid of it anyway. Chuck selected an architect with whom he worked closely to produce construction drawings for the work. Chuck handled selection and contracting with contractors, and he was here every day to coordinate and supervise their construction, aided by our building manager, Carl Daly. Our digest reports that during 2000-2002, our club invested $310,000 to improve the building's efficiency, assure the safety and comfort of workers and customers, and improve accessibility to handicapped persons. Major work included upgrading electrical, lighting, alarm, and fire sprinkling systems, improving and adding heating and cooling to occupied areas, installing a new telephone and security system, improving and adding sales space, primarily in the mezzanine area, installing a new bathroom with handicapped access, and installing this modern elevator for people and for goods. The person who led this was Chuck North. So, in his 20 years, he had an impact that we take advantage of really about every day here, as our customers do. So I'm very happy to be a part of inducting Chuck North into the Hall of Honor.
Our fourth and final recipient is a gentleman who is not known personally to many of us in the room, passed away a number of years ago, but is truly a legend in the world of Kiwanis. We are honored that Sherry Springer, Hall of Honor member himself from 1986, will present the award for Forney Clement. Sherry?
I am honored today to be asked to add the name of Forney W. Clement to our club's Hall of Honor. At this point, before I go any further, I would like to thank Al Daly for his help in finding information in the Michigan District Office about Forney's service to Kiwanis. I'm going to take a little different approach in that, as of the best of my knowledge, there are no living descendants of Forney Clement at this time. But I'm going to ask people, if you're over 70, to please raise your hand. Now, please keep them up. I've got the next question for you. Can you tell me what you were doing on October 14th, 1942? If you can, leave your hand in the air. This is kind of strange, folks. My mother and father took me as a young toddler to Forney Clement's home on October 14th, 1942, the day Forney passed away. He lived over on Baldwin by Burns Park. His wife was Edna Clement. Some of you might remember that name She was Harold Logan's secretary at Slauson Junior High School for many years, particularly the years I was there. All of our club members and most Kiwanians recognize Forney's name in connection with the Forney Cement project at Mott's Hospital. The first of Kiwanis of Michigan's foundations for hospital projects. Our club had started the hospital project. Forney helped to ensure its growth until it became a district project. And then 3 other hospitals were added after Forney's passing. Forney was born in the mid-1880s. I believe the year was 84, but I'm not 100% certain. He attended and graduated from the University of Michigan School of Music. He moved from here to Battle Creek and joined a business there that was a music company. He was there for 15 years, joined Kiwanis in Battle Creek in 1920. In 1927, after selling his interest in the music company, he moved to Ann Arbor and joined his brother, who was R.G. Clement, in a business I've never heard of before. They did cost estimating for contractors, selling their service to various contractors to bid on jobs. So, you know, one bid went to more than one firm. But as I said, he had joined Kiwanis in 1920, moved to Ann Arbor in 27. Between 1920 and 1930, Forney was the district chairman of 3 district conventions. In 1929, he was elected to the position of second vice president of this club, which is contrary to what we have now. At that time, we had 2 vice presidents, a first and a second. You were elected second, and first, and president. He resigned prior to becoming installed as a VP to become the first district secretary treasurer of the Michigan district. During Forney's term in office, the following additional duties were added to his district secretary treasurer's job: editor of the Michigan Builder, field service man, district convention manager, leadership training chairperson, secretary of the Council of Past District Governors. When Forney took office as the district secretary, Kiwanis of Michigan had 47 clubs with 2,200 members. You gotta remember, this was at the end of the Depression, and his term went into the first, he lived 10 months of World War II. But during his term, he doubled the number of clubs and doubled the membership in the Michigan district. One of the things Forney is remembered for, he sponsored a program of recognition of people while they were yet alive to appreciate the recognition of their outstanding civic humanitarian service, or as Forney would call it, flowers for the living. Following Forney's death, past governor of the Michigan district, Bert Parrish, said, "To me, Forney Clement was Kiwanis personified." President Mark and fellow Kiwanians and guests, it gives me great pleasure to place Forney's name as a member of the Hall of Honor. Thank you.
Other than I think it's very appropriate that all of us take a moment to rise and honor the 4 people that have been added to the board. And thanks to the wall. Thank you.